All right, right now, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners is meeting in North Dakota, and this group will guide policy that will directly impact your insurance coverage. The president of the NAIC is Jon Godfread, and he joins us this morning to talk through everything we need to know. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Scripps News.
Thanks, Holly. Good morning.
So I want to start with the focus on the immediate pressing issues in the insurance industry. We've been reporting this morning about the record rainfall and floods in the Midwest this weekend. We recently witnessed the devastation from the Texas flooding, fires in California. We're in hurricane season. So how is the insurance agency approaching these unprecedented weather events that seem to not be going away at any time soon?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is we're seeing this more often and more common, right? And so our primary role is consumer protection. So we're there to make sure that these claims are processed as quickly and as efficiently as possible and really help to explain the insurance process to the consumers. Unfortunately, I think we're at times a fairly well-kept secret. And so every state has an insurance commissioner, every jurisdiction in the country has an insurance commissioner that you can call and ask for the process and the policies and kind of get those questions answered. The really challenging thing, especially with these floods in Wisconsin or Texas, is that's a federal program. And insurance is inherently a state-based system. And we're really proud of the state-based system we have because risk is inherently local. So the challenges in North Dakota are going to be very different than Wisconsin, Florida, California, or even Texas. And so the more that we can rely on the states to enact policies and enact coverages in this space, I think that'll lead to better outcomes. And again, I think these flooding challenges we're seeing right now is a prime example of that.
And so how do these disasters affect insurance costs nationwide? I know state to state there are different rules and regulations, but a lot of people wonder, for instance, if their insurance costs are going up in Iowa because of the devastating fires in California we saw earlier this year. Does it work like that?
Not necessarily. Again, I think we've seen a lot of changes in this space in terms of the cost of goods, right? Labor, wood, materials, all the things that go into recovery are more expensive now than they have been in the past. You couple that with increasing home prices, and really we're building in communities that they're expensive at times to rebuild, and so your insurance will reflect the inherent thing that you're insuring. So if that's becoming more expensive, your insurance will absolutely become more expensive. Now, we're working very closely and been working for about a decade as insurance regulators across the country to build that community resilience. So looking at My Safe Florida Homes, you got Safer from Wildfires in California, Strengthen Alabama Homes is going all across the country. These are resiliency programs that we're instituting that are being led by the insurance regulators across the country to try to bring down some of those costs, especially in times of disaster.
And so when you talk about it, I mean, we're in the time of tariffs right now. Today, this morning, a lot of people are waking up and saying, all right, these tariffs have seemed to stuck. We get a lot of supplies from overseas, other places you mentioned, you know, those costs go up and down. Are there certain things, though, that the insurance company would do for homeowners, say, if they said, listen, I'm going to build a fire-resistant home in California. I am going to, you know, spend the money to raise my house in a flood area. Are there things that the insurance company can help do? I mean, more than just, here, let us pay you out to rebuild your house only to have something happen again. What incentives are in place? And are you talking about perhaps maybe more of them as an industry nationwide?
Yeah, I think the insurance industry is really, really good at rating risk and figuring out where the risky spots are. And so if you come back and build some defensible space around your home, you put an upgraded roof on your home, or you go to a fortified home system like they have in Florida, that will be reflected back in rate. And what we're seeing is on individuals who take those steps are seeing discounts, but it really becomes a community-wide response. And so we've got to get in with the local counties and cities and have those discussions at the local level about building codes. That's one thing we're really working on and really trying to push forward with, but it's not an authority we have as insurance commissioners and insurance regulators. Those decisions are inherently local, but we know how to protect against wind and hail. We know how to build mitigation against flood. We're getting much better at wildfire. We have to have the political courage and the willingness to build resilient communities, and I think that's one area where the insurance industry can lead.
And there are certain areas of the country where you can't get insurance anymore. I mean, or the prices are so high, many can't afford to insure places they may have owned and lived in for years, decades. Florida, for example, seeing the consequences of these weather disasters. So what are options for people who basically are at risk of losing everything in one hurricane or one flood, basically cannot afford to rebuild on their own?
Yeah, well, I'd argue I think we have a pretty strong availability options, right? I think we've got an affordability crunch more so than anything. And I think you especially look at Florida as an option, as what they've done there. Since Hurricane Andrew, adopting to fortified home models, you haven't seen that insurance availability crisis, and they've taken some legal action reform. So insurers are coming back into Florida, so we're really excited about that. But I think what people can do, again, is continue to shop around, talk with their local agents, and really, you're getting better to know what your risks are and understanding your policies. And I think we're seeing consumers are more actively engaged in this process than ever before, which I think is a good thing.
Let's talk about AI, because AI is playing a role in every sector of the market. So how does AI work in the context of the insurance industry, and what is the industry doing to make sure that there's no bias, there's a fairness and transparency, because that's a common concern in so many industries?
Yeah, this is another area that we've been leading on at the state level as we passed some artificial intelligence principles for the insurance industry about 5 years ago. So really, again, at the forefront of this issue. I'm excited about artificial intelligence. I think there's some great options there to speed that claims process along and make this industry much more efficient. I think some of the things we've got working in our favor is insurance is inherently risk averse, right? And so we've seen the companies in this space, they're really walking slowly and judiciously in this space. But I think more importantly, what we're looking at is what is the data privacy around consumers' data, and how is that data being used? And I think more so than even focusing on how do you, quote unquote, maybe regulate AI, we're looking at what that data privacy model looks like, and how do we protect consumers' data, and making sure that they know where that's data being used and what decisions are coming from that data, so they can make informed decisions.
Jon Godfread, president of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, thank you for the information that will really help our viewers. We didn't even get to talk on health insurance and auto insurance, so I hope you'll come back to Scripps News. We've got lots more to discuss.
Yep, anytime. Thanks, Holly.
Thank you.